being out, you think, Aaron, has that played a part in, some of the failures on the Houston offense? Is the missing of Joe Mixon, or do you think it's more though just the offensive line as a whole? Like even if Joe Mixon was there, do you
Mhm.
believe that the offensive line, because of the issues at up front, with Houston,
Mhm.
do you really think that those issues had a lot to do, with the Houston offense success, which failures, which it has, right?
Mhm.
Do you believe that if Joe Mixon were there, would there be that impact, that could push Texans forward to get maybe a win right now, be 1-2? Or do you think that things would still remain the same?
Honestly, from my point of view, it's a percentage, like a percentage, but a small percentage of their production. Like we were, hoping to see more from Christian Kirk, but he only had, I believe, 2 catches for 20 yards. I think it was. Let me look about it again. It was Houston. Oh, it was 3 catches for 25 yards with Nico leading the receiving with 8 catches, 104 yards. But overall, it kind of didn't look like anybody's getting the ball passed to. So Christian Kirk, he was there, but he sort of was there, but not there to where you'd love to see him when we've been waiting for him for over 3 weeks because we've heard so much about his chemistry with CJ in the offseason. But when it comes to Joe Mixon, he is, that player that we loved to see last year, making the cuts, making his routes inside the hole, even if it was a bad offensive line. Because last year, I'm not gonna lie, last year was worse. This year is a bit better, but still can stay inconsistent. But overall, if Joe Mixon was playing right now, I can still see him having his ferociousness with how he plays, but I can still see us not staying consistent with the run game. Like as I was saying on my video on my channel, uh, we only ran the ball 15 times. It says 19, but that's because CJ ran the ball 4 times. But we ran the ball 15 attempts, and that is low. That's too low to be running a ball. So it's still just the Nick Chubb and Woody Marks running back show right now. And Nick Chubb, he still has that power in him. He still makes about 6 to 7 yards per game at the times. But the way I've been talking lately, we have to honestly push Nick Chubb away and start Woody Marks because Woody Marks he was ranked in college last year the #1 passing back, and he caught a pass against the Jaguars where he caught it and juked about 3 guys out of his way and almost got the first down. And his run game, he can find his hole, and he's tough to bring down. So this is why I say maybe even this week's game, we can start Woody Marks because the Titans defense is good, but it's one of those where you feel you can tee off on them in a way, like to see who you've got on your team because we're just not utilizing anybody this year, especially with our rookies, Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins. Both of them combined with only 2 catches against the Jaguars game, which is just terrible to see. And this is all because of how we boiled it down to. They say we're going off of the Rams offensive scheme book, but no, we're actually going off of the Patriots system, which is how the Patriots never really took their rookies to where they should have been. So they always kept their veterans. And just today there was a press conference with the offense coordinator Nick Haley, and honestly, he was just stuttering off and on, and you could just tell he's not confident anymore. He went on to say, this is a tweet from Cody Stutes. This is not that Nick Haley said, this is not a copy and paste New England Patriots system. And everybody's just looking like, what is up with y'all bringing up the Patriots now? Like, we're not even asking y'all questions about the Patriots, but y'all know that this is how other teams see y'all, like Todd Bowles last week saying, oh, their offense reminds me of the Patriots. Then the Jaguars coach, he was in the locker room knowing that, we expected them not to do much on offense. That's why we elected to defer after the coin toss. So knowing and hearing that is just so abysmal and terrible to hear that all these teams know they can just blitz you and get to your quarterback to stop that offense because of how inconsistent they've been.
Exactly. And, when you look at that, what Haley was saying in that press conference, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Aaron, confidence starts with, right, the staff, right, the head coach,
Yeah.
D'Amico Ryans, and obviously you've seen his conferences, right? Haley, you look at what he said, it's not a lot of confidence, and that doesn't even give confidence or leadership, right? Offensive coordinators, they're the play callers, they're the guys that need to be confident in their play calling, and showing that in confidence and not being confident in the play calling from the offensive coordinator, in themselves. it really just shows that the offense is not going to perform to the level that fans want to see if the offensive coordinator doesn't even have confidence in their own play calling, right? That's the play caller that has, the offensive play caller has to have confidence in their own play calling. That's just common sense at that point.
Yeah.
And if Nick Haley's not having that confidence in that press conference and not showing it through the games, right, that they can play call a full 4 quarters of football, then you deservedly don't deserve to be the offensive coordinator. And I think Houston Texans fans are starting to agree with that statement right through 3 games. Now, obviously, it's early in the season. We have yet to see more, but this Titans game upcoming, Aaron, I want to see how you feel about this game because this is going to be the true test to see if this Texans offense, this Titans defense, they aren't, bad, right? They're still pretty good, right? Just because the Colts put, 34 offensive points on them this last week, that doesn't mean a lot because the Colts offense is fantastic. They're the complete opposite of Houston, right? You see the offensive line, right? The offense is just clicking on all cylinders. And you look at the Texans and they're not clicking on all cylinders and it's a complete opposite, right? Aaron, how confident do you feel going into this Titans game? And you think that this is the true test to see if the Texans offense can be, right, for real this season? If this offense can be sustainable, right? You can argue.
No, and this is a definitely must-win game because if we don't win this game, we're gonna go 0-4. And if you look at our schedule, you see who we play next week. We have no confidence in who we play next week, which is the Baltimore Ravens. We have no confidence in that game, so that's why we hope and pray we win this game against the Titans. And if we don't, we're at this point already coming up with the mock drafts. We're already like predicting in our head, like, oh, let's see let's wonder what pick we can get, and maybe we can trade back in the draft next year. And that, like, early in the season, already talking about mock drafts about who we should trade or cut, be sellers before the trade deadline. But with this game coming up, because I've looked at Tennessee's rankings, Tennessee ranking 17th against the pass, ranking 29th against the rush. So you see that their pass defense is pretty all right, but their rush defense is very below average. So that's why this is the type of game where this is why I said Woody Marks and Nick Chubb, I hope to see them get more than combined 15 attempts at rushing, because 15 attempts at rushing, like, just seems like, oh, you're just giving the blueprint to the other team, knowing that you're just going to pass all the time. And with Tennessee, they're ranking 30th with 31.3 points allowed per game. So this is a game where you got to hope that as a fan, you see that they understand that they can attack this defense because of how inconsistent the Tennessee Titans defense can be. And the reason why I believe, they look good on paper, but the reason why they will allow points is because, like our defense, they run on and off the field because of how inconsistent their offense is. And I truly believe that we will get the W, even though I've said it every week, we will get the W and we've lost all these games. But when it comes to the Tennessee Titans offense with Cam Ward, running back Tony Pollard, they're receiving, like, it's all inconsistent for this. Like, their leading receiver is their tight end. So, and especially when they have Calvin Ridley at the wideout. But you can see that Tennessee, they don't know who they are as well offensively, but this is the type of game where, with our, honestly, all-star defense that we have, who keeps teams below 20 points, honestly, I think we allow 17.3 points per game. But overall, that's, like, so good for us. We're ranked 5th in points allowed per game. So this is the game where, honestly, we should look like the way y'all played against them defensively, because y'all shut them out last week. So this is the game where I hope we can prove that we're on the same level of shutting them out, winning the game, and saying, okay, let's see where we can bring our team back with this momentum.
Yeah, definitely. And I trust that Houston Texans defense very much. And, in terms of my prediction, right, I believe that the Houston Texans, this is a must win, like you said, Aaron. As that statement says, crystal clear. The Houston Texans are in dire need of a win. And it's to wake up the fan bases to, revamp that hope, right? Because, Houston Texans fans right now are just, throwing in the towel, being like, this is over. The media, the journalists, trying to write the articles being like, this is over. Houston Texans just all negative right now. But the team, the coaching staff, it all comes down to D'Amico Ryans and that leadership in the coaching staff, and that leadership with CJ Stroud, just being confident, being able to revamp this team. And I trust CJ Stroud especially, and this defense, to try to get it together and just making sure that the leaders, whether in the defense or whether on offense, to, just revamp this Houston Texans team to get that win. Because again, you guys really need it, right?
Yeah.
You know, going 1-3, that's what you guys need. This Titans team, you know, it isn't really a team that's getting behind its coach right now. They're having issues
Yeah.
with Callahan and the play calling and everything. It's a whole lot of drama in Tennessee right now. With Houston, I see a locker room that still hasn't been lost yet. D'Amico Ryan
Yeah.
still has it. You know, D'Amico Ryan is a great leader and has shown it. So I have no doubt that the Houston Texans will win. I'm going to have the score being here a little closer than, you know, what the Colts did. I think it's going to be still a relatively good win for the Houston Texans. I'm going to say that Cam Ward and that offense get no more than 10. I think that
Okay.
the Texans should be able to shut them down. I think the Texans offense will struggle here and there, but will find a way to win in the end. I'm going to have the score being 24-10. Houston Texans winning.
Honestly, I was gonna go 20-10. So we're both on the same level because honestly, that does sound like a reasonable score. But with us, it's always a close game every week. So I'll stick with 20-10. But moving on from the Texans versus Titans, we're gonna go into the Colts being